Okay, we're back. So now we've done with section B. So now let's move on to section 3, which as you'll see is on the second page of this PAT 2020 marking checklist. So let's read the instructions for section 3. So all learners must complete question 12 and 13, which is users can choose to start a new game at any time. All variables, game sprites, and additional gameplay elements must correctly reset, as well as the program keeps track of all the incorrect letters guessed. So that's what we're going to do in today's video. But just before we move on, I just want to highlight the second point. Learners can choose to complete either 14 and 15, which is improved text files, or may complete 16 and 17, the hint button. So you either do 14 and 15, which are these two, or you do 16 and 17, which are these two, and then together you'll make 30 marks. You don't need to do every point under section C, but you do need to do 12 and 13, as well as either 14 and 15, either 14 and 15 or 16 and 17, which are both two questions that are composed of 10 and 5 marks each. Okay, so let's start off with point 12, and let's just talk about logically. So I've been kind of programming this as we go. You'll see that with my UGame screen, I do program this to an extent, or I have made a good effort to program this to an extent. You see, I start with everything reset, and if I start a new game and I play the game a couple of times, it does its thing, and then if I win, if I lose, if I what would it be? What would it be? Oh yeah, delta. See, so I win, and everything, happens like this, and now it chills over here, and it does this thing, but when I go game, start new game, everything resets. My life counter resets, my thing moves back into place, the timer starts, my word gets reset, all of my images come back on the side. Everything resets to 0, and depending on your game, you're going to have to figure out how that looks, and it's going to require you just to do some thinking about, okay, so when I go game, start new game, what needs to start hidden? What needs to be set visible equals to true, what needs to be set visible, what's visible needs to be set equals to false. Basically, what needs to be shown and hidden. And I think mine right now isn't actually working perfectly. I think I do actually need to make a slight improvement to my lose code. I'll show you what that looks like now, because I realized this the other day. So you see, like right there, the fact that you can't do this, that's part of this question. So let's just go Q, 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 and you see it goes game over, and then the guessing word was alpha. But I think if I go game, start new game, okay, no, it is doing it. Hang on, let me see if I can break it. You see there that like the thing it just disappeared for some reason, so I've got to go fix that. And also these water drops don't reset to the correct position, so that's something else that I need to go fix. And I think I can just do that now. So when I go game, start new game, let's go check my image line code for game, start new game. Oh, these are all my timers. Let's see, image 9.visible set equals to false, and then right here I'll just set image 9. Image 9.top set equals to, what does it start at? Minus 57. Okay, equals minus 57. So there we go. So that's reset that now. So that should work. But now, what's going on with my other? With this image over here, this image 8. I want to find out what's happening with this image 8. Where's my timer for it? Here we go. This must be the timer. So image 8.visible set equals to false. So I do that when timer 6 is active. So let me just go check what's happening with timer 6. That's timer 1, it's timer 2. Timer 6 is when I lose a life. So it just appears for a second and then disappears. So that's fine. And then image 8.visible. Okay, so I guess I'll have to do a little bit more digging to find out what's wrong. I don't want to let this video get too long. But in the next video, I'll find out how I fixed it, and I'll show you how I fixed it. But I think it just comes down to Oh, you know what? I think I know exactly what it is. When I lose, I need to stop that timer. Timer 6 needs to be disabled immediately to prevent it from showing up. Maybe that is the problem. Do I start with it active? No. Okay. So the moment that I lose, timer 6 needs to be set equals to false. I don't know if this is going to fix it. I'm just kind of not really guessing, but I have an idea and I'm just going to test it because, you know, that timer is what's keeping it going. So okay, that looks good. So now let's try one more time. Start new game. Beautiful. Okay, so it seems to be working. Okay. So I fixed it. Then when I go game, start new game, everything resets. So that right there, if I saw that, I would say, okay, that's all resetting. That's 10 marks. And even then, I'd still come down here and look at your start new game. Oh, we're in the wrong place. I'd come look at your start new game procedure and would see, okay, so you set all of these things to be 0. You reset all of these components. This looks good. You see, and you do all of this. I'd look at this and I'd say, okay, yeah, that's a 10 out of 10 right there. Okay, so that's that one. Now let's take a look at the next point, which is keeping track of all the incorrect letters guessed. So this one is actually so straightforward. That's why it's a 5 marker. So I'm just going to quickly create a memo over here. I'm just going to create a memo 1, and I'm just going to pop it down here. I'll just keep it over here. You know, I could put a label up that says, you know, like, oh, actually, maybe I won't put it here. Maybe I'll, no, actually, I will have it. I'm just trying to think because I want to make sure that I can see all of the letters that are guessed, and they're all going to be added one after another. I guess it doesn't even need to be a memo. It could also be an edit box that I'm just adding letters to. In fact, maybe I'll do that instead. Maybe I won't do a memo. Maybe I'll just move this up a little bit and then I'll actually bring in an edit box. So if your form has a space where you can have something run down, you know, like a long square that comes down, you know, a long rectangle that comes down, and then you would add each letter line by line. If you want to do that, that's fine, but I'm going to try doing this as an edit box just because I'll make this nice and big over here. And you'll see why in a second why I want to do it as an edit box. And let me just change its text to be blank. And you know what, I might also make its font size just a little bit bigger. I think I'll make its font size maybe like, let's start with 18, and we can always come back and make it bigger if we don't like how it looks. Okay, so now here's what I'm going to do. Let me just get some control in here. Use the control function to move it a little bit. So if you hold control and use the arrow keys, you can move this thing. Also a shift, you can actually resize it bit by bit. But yeah, control is very useful. Okay, so I think I don't think the user will make too many. I mean, the user can only actually make 5 guesses now that I think about it. So the user can only actually make 5 guesses in our program before things break. So maybe I can actually make it quite small because they can only make so many guesses. And let's just make everything as a line. So I guess a memo actually would have been appropriate because, you know, that's fine. You know, because only 5 lines, that would have been very small is what I'm trying to say. So let's go to our code now, and obviously this is going to happen when we get something incorrect. So let's go find our incorrect code. Incorrect, lose a life. So right over here, we have the user's guess, and we could actually do this up here. We don't have to wait until we check if the game is over or, you know, do any of this. Right over here inside of this if statement, we know we got it incorrect and we lose a life. Pretty much as soon as we start it, we can add that to the edit. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to go edit, I believe it's probably edit 2 if I had to take a guess. Yes, it's edit 2. Always confirm that, never take a guess. Edit 2.text set equals to edit 2.text plus a comma. You'll see why in a second I'm doing that comma and that space, but hang on, it's going to be edit2.text plus I'm trying to figure this out as I go. Plus S user guess. Plus a comma. So now I'm just trying to think what will happen. So what's going to happen is edit2.text will start as blank. So the first time this runs, it will say blank plus the user's guess plus a comma with a space. And then the second time it runs, it will be the first guess plus a comma as edit2.text, which will then be added to the next user's guess plus a comma. So every time the user gets something incorrect, it prints the user's guess with a comma at the end of what was already in the edit2.text property. So let's just run this so I can show you what it looks like. So we go game, start new game, and I make this Q. You see right there, it goes Q, comma, and then I can go W, and then it goes W, comma, and then I can go E, comma, R, comma, T, and then it says game over. And look at that, it actually fits perfectly. That's beautiful. So I can put in a, I could have made this a labeled edit actually, but I'm just going to bring in hang on, I need to go back to my design view. I'm also going to close this. Well, let's see if this works. Game forfeit. Yeah, game exit works. Okay. You can write code for that own forfeit. You can write code for your own forfeit button. So if you want to write code for your forfeit button, it's not a requirement. So I think I like how that looks. Let's bring in a label quickly, just so that we can just say, you know, that we finished this and that we made it look good. And let's go to our labels caption and let's make this incorrect with a colon like so. And then, you know what, let's just go for the exact same font size. Let's not mess around. Let's just go for the exact same font size we had just now, which was, hang on, did I not? Oh, okay, I see, I didn't select it. There, font, and the size will be 18. Let's just make it the exact same font size. And then over here we can have it as like incorrect, and I'm gonna keep it all centered like this. I mean, it looks a little bit off now with the, maybe I can, no, I think I'll just leave it like that. And then, oh, maybe I can have it like, you see, I don't want to play around too much with my form. Maybe I can actually just put it up here, because it's not gonna matter, you know. And that looks a little bit more balanced. And then the water drop, I can actually just send it to the front of everything. I can go control, bring to front. So it will always be on the front of everything, hopefully. So now let's just try this again. Let's just see if it works. Game, start new game. And let's go Q, 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 Q. Okay, so it still went behind it, but that's fine. We did our best. We did what we could. It's looking good. I'm liking how this looks. Okay, so that's that question done. Let's move on to the next one.